Working on your birthday sucks, and this is something that every responsible adult with a full-time job has experienced at least one time in their life. It's supposed to be your day, celebrating your life, but now you're stuck at work punching a clock for at least 8 hours on a day that's supposed to be 100% yours. And even though NBA players have one of the coolest professions on the entire planet, the same applies for them. Even if it's their birthday, holiday, whatever the case may be, they still have to go and clock in for work. Today we're going to be breaking down my top 5 NBA birthday performances of all time. The motivation for this video is of course me celebrating my 22nd birthday today, or it'll be yesterday by the time you guys see this video. So if you want to show me some birthday love, a like and a subscribe would always be appreciated. It's free to show support, so if you guys enjoy this kind of content, of course be sure to subscribe. I'm Frank Thomas, this is Off the Backboard, and without further ado, let's get right into today's video. And coming in at our number 5 spot, we're going to have the youngest nominee on this list, the unibrow Mr. Anthony Davis, who on this day, his 24th birthday on March 11, 2017, would put up one of the most insane stat lines of his entire career, putting up a monstrous double-double of 46 points, 21 rebounds, 3 assists, 18 for 31 from the field, so about 58% from the field, and 4 for 5 from 3. AD would rack up 26 of his 46 points in the fourth quarter and overtime, squeaking out a close 3-point win against the Charlotte Hornets, a game where All-Star at the time Kemba Walker would also put up 35 points, so just an extremely good win for this New Orleans Pelicans team. And I know that Anthony Davis this season has been turning it around in terms of his production, and we all know that he has the 2020 championship run with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, but I feel like this just goes to show how extremely dominant Anthony Davis was during his New Orleans Pelicans days, as during this time in league history, only 11 players had pulled down at least 45 points and 20 rebounds under the age of 25. And at this time, Anthony Davis had did it twice, which is just kind of an insane stat to think about, considering this guy was still only 24 years old, so he still had an entire another season to keep breaking more records. And just so you guys know, before we get into the next spot on today's list, this list isn't in any exact order, as all of the performances on here are just absolutely insane. But without further ado, let's get right into the next spot on today's list. Now, coming in at our next spot, we're going to have a guy who it's almost impossible to make any sort of top 5 or top 10 list without including his name in it. We're of course going to have His Airness Michael Jordan, who on his 29th birthday on February 17, 1991, he would have an insane stat line of 46 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. Unfortunately, his heroics would not turn out in a win, as he would lose a close game to the Cleveland Cavaliers by just 1 point. He would finish the game with 21 for 32 shooting and 4 for 5 from the line. He finished this game with 0 3-pointers made, which is absolutely unheard of in today's day and age, with that high scoring total without any 3-pointers made. But Michael Jordan, being the competitive psychopath that he was, him taking this loss on his birthday obviously didn't sit very well with him. So, fun fact about this game, MJ would go on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers the next 5 times that he met them in the regular season. Just something that I thought was very interesting. But without further ado, let's get right into our next spot on today's list. Before we get into this next spot, I just want you guys to listen how these hometown announcers are hating on LeBron.
What in the world?
Oh, man. If I'm
and
the
there's
Hawks,
another team on the floor waiting to start the game.
If I'm the Hawks, I'm really mad right now. Are you celebrating before the game?
Man, LeBron couldn't even get a little pre-game birthday celebration in without catching strays from his own hometown announcers. But as you guys may know, LeBron is coming up next on this spot. Another dude that it's just super hard to make any sort of top 5, top 10 list without his name being included. LeBron would usher in his 25th year of life on December 30th, 2009, where he would put up an insane stat line of 48 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He would shoot 15 from 23 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, 2 steals, 2 blocks, just doing a little bit of everything out there. And him and Shaq would actually end up taking the 5-point win against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal duo in Cleveland, It's just something that me as a basketball fan just feels like a gray area in my mind. I know that it happened, and I know that they didn't have too much success with each other, but it just doesn't feel real seeing Shaq and LeBron in the same jersey, same court, suited up together. But without further ado, let's get right into our next spot on today's list. Before we get into the rest of the list, I of course want to get into one of my favorite segments on this channel, Askot TB. Now, this is just something for me to connect to you guys on a little bit more personal level. The way that it works, all you have to do is drop a hashtag AskOTB in the comment section down below. I go through all of the comments and I pick a couple to go through for a couple of minutes on each of these episodes. The question that I decided to go with today is going to come from Hookah Luka on YouTube. He asked, do you think that league expansion is good for the NBA? Now, this is something that I ponder on quite a bit, actually, because I feel like expansion is inevitable for the NBA. It's been done multiple times in the NBA already. As you guys know, when the NBA was first started, there was only 12 teams, sitting at a total of 30 now. But I think, in my opinion, that it would be great for the league. But as with anything, the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer. Now, the reason that I say that is because when it comes to league expansion, as if you guys don't know, basically the way that it would work is that each team would be able to basically protect a certain amount of players, and any player that's not protected goes into the draft pool, and that's what the expansion teams would be able to select from. Now, the reason I say the rich would get richer is that obviously if you're a super good team, you already know who your core guys are. So it's probably not very likely that you're going to not protect someone that is a core, like a core part of your team. And the reason I say the poor is going to get poorer is that for these younger teams, a lot of the times you're not even 100% sure who your core guys are. You're still trying to develop some people. So say like for teams like the Pistons and the Wizards, if they don't protect someone that ends up blossoming, it's just going to look really rough on them. And I feel like that's extremely likely with all of the young talent that we have on all of these different teams. But I think that it would be a good thing for that same exact reason, as there's just a lot of teams that have talent on the bottom of these benches that is legitimate NBA talent. There's just too many players on their team in the same position, too much talent on the team, whatever it may be, to where those players just never see the floor. Now, this is happening right now with my favorite team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. In my opinion, Trey Mann is an NBA basketball player. One thing about that dude is that he can go out and get a bucket, it seems, whenever he feels like it. But there's just too much talent on this young Oklahoma City team. And he was projected to get minutes at the beginning of this season, but as everybody knows, we've been a lot more successful than anyone could have projected us to be. So he's a guy that's just getting DNP coaches' decisions. And like I said before, he's a real NBA guy. So if an expansion draft were to happen, players like him, are more than likely not going to be protected, and they'll be going to these expansion teams who are getting all of their players from, like end of the bench guys from all of these other teams. So he'll see a real jump in production and minutes, so it'll just be a really good opportunity for him. And parity, as we know in the league right now, it's more than it's ever been. So if we can introduce something, to make the playing field a little bit more even, because like I said right now, there's the top and the bottom. It doesn't really feel like there's an in-between. It can help in that aspect, but, there's this, I could go back and forth on this all day, but my main consensus is that I think it'll be good for the league. But for those bottom feeder teams, it's going to be really hard for them to, get to a point where they feel like they can compete from this. But I really appreciate Hookah Luka for the question. Again, all you have to do is drop a hashtag AskOTB in the comment section down below for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. And without further ado, let's get right back into the list. And up next on our list, we're going to have the human highlight reel, Dominique Wilkins, who on his 27th birthday, he would put up a pretty insane stat line against the Los Angeles Clippers. But I do want to say I apologize, as I was not able to find any footage from the game itself. So the highlights that you're seeing right now is just a game between him and Michael Jordan. But in this game, he would put up an insane stat line of 53 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists, 19 for 25 from the field, so 76% from the field. He hit his one three-pointer that he would attempt and was 14 for 14 from the line. Dominique would of course go on and finish his storied career with the Los Angeles Clippers, so it just seems that tonight they were on the wrong side of the action. But with his 53-point performance, he of course scores a spot on today's list. Now, I know I had mentioned at the top of this video that this list wasn't in any specific order, but giving the number 1 spot to anyone else but this next performance would just be completely insane, as this is easily the most dominant NBA birthday performance we've seen in the history of the NBA. And this of course is going to come from Shaquille O'Neal, who on March 6, 2000, on his 28th birthday, would put up an insane stat line of 61 points, 23 rebounds, and 3 assists. He did all of this on top of shooting 24 for 35 from the field and grabbing 7 offensive rebounds. This of course was in the LA Rivals game against the Los Angeles Clippers, where the Lakers would eventually pick up the 123-103 win against them. Now, this of course was in the middle of a dominant run for the Los Angeles Lakers, as this was their 16th win in a row and they would end up winning the NBA championship this season. This 61-point total would actually end up being Shaquille O'Neal's career high. It's just insane that he managed to do that on his birthday. I know that it's something that all of us NBA fans have fantasized about since we were younger, you know, dreams of making it to the league and, you know, just performing on those big games. And this is something that Shaq came out and did in a dominant fashion. So with his 61 points and 23 rebounds, Shaq is pretty easily going to take the cake, no pun intended, on today's birthday video. But what I want you to do is let me know in the comments down below if there's any performance that I may have missed on today's list. I did a good amount of research for this, but you know, no one's perfect. I may have overlooked something. So again, let me know in the comments down below if you can think of another NBA birthday performance that would top one of these 5. And that is going to do it for me, y'all. I just want to say thank you so much for watching today's video if you've made it this far. And if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's free to show support. One more time, drop a hashtag Askot TB in the comment section down below with any sort of NBA question or hot take for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. I'm about to get out of here. Again, thank you so much for watching. Peace.